In late September 2025, reports began circulating across Abuja, the capital city of Nigeria, of a suspected coup plot within the Nigerian military. According to multiple media outlets, between 16 and 20 officers ranging from captains to colonels, and possibly including a brigadier general, were said to have secretly met at a safe house on the outskirts of the capital city. These officers allegedly expressed deep frustration with their service conditions, unpaid allowances, stalled promotions, and what they viewed as the civilian government's poor understanding of military welfare. Some insiders claimed morale in certain units had sunk to its lowest level in years, worsened by budget cuts and delayed operational logistics. Their alleged plan, according to one investigative report, involved coordinated moves to neutralize top government figures, among them President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Vice President Kashim Shettima, Senate President Godswill Akpabio, and House Speaker Tajuddin Abbas. The purported objective was to seize control of key communication and security installations before the public or loyalist forces could react. One suggested date reportedly discussed among the conspirators was 25th October 2025. Other sources alleged that the original plan considered Nigeria's Independence Day celebrations on 1st October, a symbolic occasion that draws large crowds and heavy military presence. However, in an official statement, the Defense Headquarters Nigeria (DHQ) dismissed the claims outright, calling them false and mischievous. The DHQ reaffirmed the armed forces' loyalty to the constitution, insisting that no credible evidence of a coup attempt existed. When Nigeria marked its 65th independence anniversary on October 1st, 2025, many citizens were surprised that the traditional military parade at Eagle Square, Abuja, was cancelled. Instead, President Tinubu addressed the nation through a pre-recorded broadcast, emphasizing economic recovery and national security as his administration's top priorities. Government spokespeople attributed the cancellation to logistical and cost-related considerations in quotes. Yet, behind the scenes, multiple media reports hinted at deeper fears that the parade might have presented an opportunity for conspirators to strike. Social media soon erupted. Hashtags like Coup, Save Democracy, and Nigeria at 65 trended for days as Nigerians debated the credibility of the rumors. For many, the allegations stirred uncomfortable memories of past takeovers that began just as quietly with whispers, then denials, then sudden gunfire. To understand why such rumors attract public attention, one must recall Nigeria's long and turbulent military history. Since independence in 1960, the nation has witnessed at least 6 successful coups and several failed ones. The January 1966 coup ended the First Republic and brought in Major General Aguiyi Ironsi, while the July 1966 counter-coup set off a chain of ethnic and political tensions that later fueled the Civil War. Through the 1970s, 1980s, and the 1990s, military rule became the norm. Names like Murtala Mohammed, Olusegun Obasanjo during the transitional military governments, Buhari, Babangida, and Abacha defined an era where power was often seized by force rather than ballots. Although democracy returned in 1999, Nigeria's armed forces retained a strong political presence, not necessarily through direct rule, but through influence and networks built over decades. For this reason, even unverified coup rumors can cause unease. Analysts note that economic hardship, youth unemployment, insecurity, and elite corruption often feed frustration within the ranks. making the idea of a coup, however remote, appear plausible. By mid-September 2025, unconfirmed reports claimed that the Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA, had arrested several officers at their residences and placed them under interrogation. Anonymous sources told online forums that over a dozen soldiers were being held at an undisclosed military facility in Abuja. Then, on 18th October 2025, the DHQ released a statement acknowledging that 16 officers were indeed under investigation, but not for plotting a coup. Instead, it described their offenses as, quote, issues of indiscipline and breaches of service regulations. The DHQ reiterated that no evidence of a coup plot had been found and warned the public against spreading misinformation. Still, some journalists maintained that the investigation panel had quietly expanded to include up to 20 officers. Others alleged that certain documents and encrypted communications had been recovered, suggesting preliminary discussions about regime change. None of these claims, however, were independently verified. The government has so far declined to release the names of the detained officers or disclose the nature of the ongoing inquiry. Media access to military facilities remains tightly controlled, and no judicial or legislative committee has been formed to review the allegations. Amid this backdrop of alleged unrest, an important development occurred. On October 24, 2025, President Tinubu carried out a sweeping overhaul of Nigeria's top military leadership. This move replaced all the service chiefs with immediate effect. Olufemi Oluyede was appointed Chief of Defense Staff, replacing Christopher Musa. W. Shaibu became Chief of Army Staff. S.K. Aneke was named Chief of Air Staff. Idi Abbas was appointed Chief of Navy Staff, as the Chief of Defense Intelligence retained his post. According to the presidency, the shakeup was part of efforts to strengthen Nigeria's national security architecture. However, the timing, coming just days after the investigation into alleged internal plotting, intensified speculation that the leadership changes were linked to concerns about loyalty and regime stability rather than merely operational efficiency. Some observers view the move as a signal of the administration's intent to tighten control over the military chain of command. It also raises questions about how the alleged grievances within the forces, which included pay delays, morale issues, were addressed by the previous leadership team, and whether the change marks a shift in strategy from prevention to restructuring. If the coup plot were genuine, it would represent one of the gravest threats to Nigeria's Fourth Republic since 1999. Such an event could destabilize not only the government, but also investor confidence, diplomatic relations, and regional security. Nigeria, as West Africa's most populous nation and economy, plays a significant role in the economic community of West African states, the ECOWAS. A coup, or even its perception, could erode international trust and embolden anti-democratic movements across the region. Yet, even if the plot was fabricated or overstated, the repercussions remain serious. Persistent rumors signal a fragile environment where distrust, economic hardship, and institutional fatigue coexist. Military analysts have long warned that low troop morale, delayed salaries, and unclear missions in counter-insurgency operations erode discipline within the ranks. This atmosphere of disillusionment provides fertile ground for misinformation. In a country where information spreads faster than verification, unverified stories can quickly spiral into national crisis. Moreover, the simultaneous leadership change sends a dual message, one of resolve to reform and another of caution that no one is untouchable. The new chiefs face immediate expectations to stabilize the military, restore morale, improve coordination, and reassure the public that the armed forces remain under constitutional civilian control. So what do we know? The DHQ confirms that 16 officers are currently under investigation for quote, disciplinary breaches. Multiple reputable media outlets have reported claims of a possible coup plan targeting top officials. The Independence Day parade was officially cancelled, with the government citing logistical reasons. The service chief's overhaul on 24th October 2025 was officially announced. Whether a plot actually existed or was exaggerated by internal rivalries or media speculation, the full identities of the alleged conspirators and their motives, whether the supposed plan included coordinated assassinations or merely protests within the ranks, remain unknown and unclear. For President Tinubu's administration, this episode highlights the urgent need to strengthen institutional trust between civilians and the military. Transparency and accountability will be key to calming public anxiety and preventing similar rumors from escalating. Experts argue that addressing underlying grievances such as fair pay, clear promotion paths, better living conditions for service members could be more effective than reactive denials. As one retired officer said, quote, "You cannot silence whispers in the barracks by issuing press statements. You must fix the reasons people whisper." Nigeria's experience, from coups past to the current uncertainty, shows that the boundary between speculation and subversion can be dangerously thin. The coming months may determine whether this alleged plot fades into history as another rumor or whether it exposes deeper fractures within Africa's most populous nation, Nigeria. Thank you for joining us today. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you later.